Amish Adalja is a senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins University Center for Health Security at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. Doctor, great to have you here. This outbreak is getting worse. We've got nearly 500 cases just in Texas, and this Gaines County kindergarten vaccination rate is at only 82%. You need 95% for herd immunity. How bad do you think it's going to get?
It's going to be some time before we're able to extinguish this outbreak. As you said, it's spreading in an area where there is very low immunization, and we're talking about the most contagious disease known to humankind. So this is going to be something that takes a lot of resources to put a lid on. And we are likely to see more deaths, more severe cases, more hospitalizations, because this outbreak is probably a lot bigger than those 500 or so cases in Texas, because we know there's underreporting. We know that there's lack of diagnostic testing in many of these cases. And the fact that we're seeing deaths tells you this is a bigger outbreak. So I suspect we'll see these numbers go up.
Yeah, when you talk about this being the most infectious disease known to humankind, you can catch measles by walking into a room where somebody with measles was in the room hours earlier.
Yes, this is a strict airborne type of pathogen. So we always had those debates during COVID about airborne versus respiratory. This is one of the ones that can suspend itself for sure in the air in small particles. So you could be in an elevator, have measles, and 2 hours and a half later, somebody else comes in, they could get measles. So yes, this is something that is very hard to contain. And it's something, if there are, deficits in immunity, the virus will find them because it is so contagious. And when you look at Gaines County, Texas, it's basically kindling for a virus like this. It was just waiting for an importation to occur, and then it's going to spread like wildfire, just like we've seen.
Dr. Paul Offit, who is the director of vaccine education at Philadelphia Children's Hospital, says that RFK Jr.'s response to this outbreak has been, quote, abysmal. Do you agree, or is that harsh?
It's completely accurate. I completely agree with Dr. Offit, who is an icon in the field of vaccinology. And RFK Jr., today we've seen this tweet that sounds like he's supporting the vaccine, but that doesn't make up for decades of denigrating the vaccine, spreading lies about the vaccine, even during this outbreak, talking about things like cod liver oil and vitamin A. And he's still talking about drugs like clarithromycin, budesonide, things that don't have a role there. He's still kind of giving a wink and a nod to the anti-vaccine movement to show he's one of theirs. And I think this is not surprising. RFK has a track record. He lied through his confirmation hearing about his support of vaccines. So I do think it's abysmal. And I think, he bears moral responsibility for the low rates of vaccination that we see all around the world, because he's promoted these false notions about the MMR vaccine.
We also have seen, because he has promoted vitamin A and cod liver oil as a treatment once you get measles, there have been kids in Texas showing up at the emergency room with vitamin A poisoning and liver damage because they've taken so much vitamin A. Vitamin A, unlike, let's say, vitamin C, is not something you can excrete from your body if you take too much.
Exactly. Vitamin A is something that needs to be taken in small doses. And the thing is, vitamin A has a role in measles, but only when there's vitamin A deficiency. In the United States, less than 1% of the population are vitamin A deficient. So to mention it the way RFK Jr. is just a distraction, and it's causing people to take harmful actions because they don't understand that vitamin A, as you said, is not like vitamin C. It is something that can store up in your body, and we're seeing people go to the emergency department with vitamin A toxicity. Completely preventable. Again, another area where RFK bears moral responsibility.
Well, it was interesting to note that after RFK Jr. did post that message yesterday saying vaccine is the best way to stop yourself from getting measles, he got some backlash from his own Make America Healthy Again supporters who were angry that he was, quote, abandoning the cause.
Yes, I think that this is kind of what happens when you're ensconced in this movement, that they are intellectual purists, and now he's facing political pressure, probably from the administration, to do something about this measles outbreak now that we have 3 people dead from measles in the United States. And his groupies are going to turn on him and ask him to get back in line. And I suspect he will probably get back in line because that's his claim to fame. That's who drove him to those power. That's why he was picked to be HHS secretary, not because he supports vaccines, not because he believed in Operation Warp Speed. Quite the opposite. He was picked kind of as a way for President Trump to court the anti-vaccine movement. So they're the ones who control him. So I suspect you'll see him fall into line or fall out of favor with the group that supported him for decades.
Dr. Amish Adalja, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.